Good evening, everyone. This is reporter Mike Strand at the Noble City Courtroom for WBDI. We'll be bringing you live coverage of the Jason Sanborn court trial. We're about ready to begin the proceedings, but before we do, let me remind everyone that this is our first attempt at covering a court trial, so bear with us while we experience this case together. Almost all the witnesses have arrived, but we're still waiting on both of the litigants. The plaintiff has now arrived, Ms. Sharon McMurray, escorted by her counsel, Tim Postman. Postman winning 6 of his last 7 outings and posting a 12-2 record overall. As they take their seats, we now see the defendant, Jason Sanborn, entering with his lawyer, Susan Stockdale. Miss Stockdale, by contrast, has not had a good season, going 1-8 in her last 9 outings and losing 3 by forfeit. We now tune in as court will soon be called second. Bailiff Frank Live. No. So let's go in, okay? Let's go in.
The court is now in session. The Honorable Judge John Gold presiding. All rise.
You may be seated. The defendant in this case?
The defendant is my client, Jason Sanborn, Your Honor.
And the plaintiff?
The plaintiff is my client, Sharon McMurray, Your Honor.
The charge?
Attempted murder, Your Honor.
The plea?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
The temperature?
75 degrees, Your Honor.
Very good. Is the prosecution ready to begin their case?
No, Your Honor.
Very good. You may proceed with your opening statement.
Very well, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, don't we have a jury? Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, I'll be brief. I, as prosecuting attorney in this case, have the burden of proof. It is my intent then to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jason Sanborn is guilty of attempting to murder the woman that is paying me rather handsomely to represent her, Sharon McMurray. Throughout this trial, I would like you to keep in mind the premise on which our country is based. That a man is innocent until proven so guilty that even he would convict himself. Thank you.
Miss Stockdale, are you prepared to make your opening statement?
Your Honor, I would like to waive on my opening statement.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Very well. Now then, Mr. Postman, you may call your first witness, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Your Honor, as my first witness, I call to the stand Mrs. Ellen Sanborn. Raise your right hand. Do you swear?
No.
Do you drink or smoke?
No.
You may take the stand. Mrs. Sanborn, what is your occupation?
I'm a chemical engineer for Acme Chemicals during the day, and I'm a tow operator for the Alabama Turnpike at night.
Mrs. Sanborn, this play is set in Chicago. How is it then that you work in Alabama?
I commute daily.
And what is your relationship to the defendant?
I'm his mother.
Mrs. Sanborn, please refrain from commenting and simply answer the question.
Sorry. Mother.
In all your years, have you ever known Jason to try to kill anyone?
Yes, I have.
And who would that be?
The plaintiff, Sharon McMurray.
No more questions. Your witness.
Mrs. Sanborn, how would you rate your general intelligence?
Very carefully.
Yet you say your own son tried to murder Sherry McMurray.
I do?
Mrs. Sanborn, on a scale from 1 to 10, where were you on the night in question?
6.
Mrs. Sanborn, I'd like to try a little test with you to show the jury how your perception cannot be trusted.
Objection, Your Honor. This question is obviously childish.
It's not true. It's not true.
Objection overruled. Please answer the question.
Finally, Mrs. Sanborn, have you a number 2 pencil?
Yes, I have.
All right, then. I'd like for you to tell me the exact second that I raised my hand. No. No more questions.
Your Honor, as my next witness, I call to the stand Mr. Ellen Sanborn.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Mr. Sanborn, what is your occupation?
I'm a housewife.
And what is your relationship to Mrs. Ellen Sanborn?
I'm her husband.
And why do you go by Mr. Ellen Sanborn when your first name is really Myron?
Wouldn't you?
No more questions.
Your Honor, I would like to reserve the right to call this witness at a later time.
What would you like to call him?
Idiot.
Very well. You may step down, idiot. Next witness.
Your Honor, I call to the stand Miss Lisa Bell. For sure. Miss Bell, what is your relationship to the plaintiff?
We're sorority sisters with the Sigma Q sorority. Got nothing to do, call Sigma Q.
And how long have you known Miss McMurray?
Since we were freshmen about 7 years ago.
And in that 7 years, have you ever known Sharon to lie?
Definitely, like, all the time.
You mean about little things like fibs, right?
Oh, no, she lied, like, on tests and questionnaires. She lied to me about this guy she went out with once. Like, she said he knew how to kiss, and then I went out with him, and he didn't.
And who was that guy?
The judge, John Doe.
No more questions.
Lisa, is Sharon still living at the sorority house?
No, she moved out about 6 weeks ago when Jason tried to kill her.
And when she did live at the house, what was her room number?
She lived in room 44.
Ah, she lived in room 44. Fine, and so what is your room number at the house?
I live in room 18.
18. And how many years have you been at college?
Like I said before, 7 years.
7. And on a scale from 1 to 100, how would you rate my look?
17.
17? Finally, Miss Bell, what is your grade point average?
2.0.
Recorder, would you please read back Miss Bell's last 4 answers?
We don't have a recorder.
Then, Judge, would you read them back to me, please?
Certainly. 7, 18, 17, 2.0.
And what do those numbers add up to, Miss Bell?
Objection, Your Honor. This is totally irrelevant.
Objection overruled. Pretty exciting.
Miss Bell, I'm waiting for your answer.
44.
44. The same number as Sharon McMurray's room number before she was attacked.
Good evening, everyone. This is reporter Mike Stand at the Noble City Courtroom for WBDI. We'll be bringing you live coverage of the Jason Sanborn court trial. We're about ready to begin the proceedings, but before we do, let me remind everyone that this is our first attempt at covering a court trial, so bear with us while we experience this case together. Almost all the witnesses have arrived, but we're still waiting on both of the litigants. The plaintiff has now arrived, Miss Sharon McMurray, escorted by her counsel, Tim Postman. Postman winning 6 of his last 7 outings and posting a 12-2 record overall. As they take their seats, we now see the defendant, Jason Sanborn, entering with his lawyer, Susan Stockdale. Miss Stockdale, by contrast, has not had a good season, going 1-8 in her last 9 outings and losing 3 by forfeit. We now tune in as court will soon be called Bailiff Frank Live. No.
Court is now in session. Honorable Judge John Dole presiding. All rise.
You may be seated. The defendant in this case?
The defendant is my client, Jason Sanborn, Your Honor.
And the plaintiff?
The plaintiff is my client, Sharon McMurray, Your Honor.
The charge?
Attempted murder, Your Honor.
The plea?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
The temperature?
75 degrees, Your Honor.
Very good. Is the prosecution ready to begin their case?
No, Your Honor.
Very good. You may proceed with your opening statement.
Very well, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, don't we have a jury? Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, I'll be brief. I, as prosecuting attorney in this case, have the burden of proof. It is my intent then to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jason Sanborn is guilty of attempting to murder the woman that is paying me rather handsomely to represent her, Sharon McMurray. Throughout this trial, I would like you to keep in mind the premise on which our country is based. That a man is innocent until proven so guilty that even he would convict himself. Thank you.
Miss Stockdale, are you prepared to make your opening statement?
Your Honor, I would like to waive on my opening statement.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Very well. Now then, Mr. Postman, you may call your first witness, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Your Honor, my first witness, I call to the stand Mrs. Ellen Sanborn. Raise your right hand. Do you swear?
No.
Do you drink or smoke?
No.
You may think you can.